Tutorial Tim calls himself a game developer, but he's never finished a game. He wakes up, opens YouTube, and tells himself that he's studying. Brackeys, Code Monkey, 10 times open, he's binging tutorials like junk food. His brain is addicted to recognition. Every time he watches, he feels smart until he tries to build something. And by that time, he's forget everything. Active Alex does the opposite. One tiny prototype a week, he fails, fixes, he learns. His code looks ugly, but it works. 6 months later, Alex ships his first game. Tim is still rewriting his notes. You've probably been like Tutorial Tim, addicted to watching instead of building. I was too, but what changed everything for me was just one simple truth. Recognition is not understanding. So let me explain that, because if you understand this one concept, your eyes are going to be open to real learning. So understanding the difference between recognition and understanding, it's critical to you actually becoming a game developer and releasing your first game. In learning, there are two types. We have passive learning and we have active learning. Passive learning, that's what Tutorial Tim is addicted to. It's like watching a tutorial, a guide, like a step-by-step guide. And then we have active learning. This is what Active Alex does. Active Alex, he doesn't just watch tutorial and have that as his main learning resource. His main learning resource is actually experimenting and building things himself. Like when he's starting out, he's building small mechanics and then prototypes, and then he builds a game. And this is where recognition and understanding comes in. When you're doing passive learning, like you're just watching or reading something, you are only learning to recognize something. You can probably imagine when you've watched a Brackeys or Code Monkey video, like at least I have a lot of moments like this. You watch them, like you can recognize a lot of the things, you think you're understanding, you feel like you're following along just fine and you understand everything. But when you try to implement that thing into your own game, when you're not watching the tutorial, are you going to remember everything that you did just as well as you thought you could do the thing when you watched the tutorial? Or are you going to struggle with it and forget everything when you don't have the tutorial open? Well, at least for me, I have a lot of moments like this. When I watch a tutorial, I think I could do the entire thing. Like I think I understood it, but then I go into the engine and I try to do it and I can't do a single thing. And this is very interesting because this is what the recognition is. When you do passive learning, like watching tutorials, you get so much recognition of something, but not the understanding. And the understanding, that's when you actually use it practically. Like you can actually implement it in your own game. And some of you might connect the dots already, that to actually learn something and to understand something, what do we need to do? Do we need to do it passively or do we need to do it actively? Well, to actually be able to use things actively, we need to do it actively. To understand something, we need to understand it by actually doing the thing itself. And that might sound painfully obvious, but the thing with recognition, which is the reason why you are stuck, is because when you are recognizing something, you feel very productive. Like you don't consciously know that you aren't understanding it because you feel like you're learning a lot of things. When you are doing passive learning and you are recognizing, like you feel like you're following along. But in reality, you aren't understanding it because you've never used it practically. And that's why so many people, including you likely, have fallen into this trap of watching so much Brackeys and Code Monkey and you're still stuck. So let me tell you how to actually build understanding. To build understanding, what we need to do is that we need to have something that we call a desirable difficulty. And a desirable difficulty, that's not going to be something that's very easy, but it's also not going to be extremely hard for you. It's going to be something that you could probably, with 60%, 90% likelihood, actually complete if you just had enough time without using external resources. But it's still going to be hard for you. You still need to test and try to figure it out. But you could probably do it if you had enough time. That's like a desirable difficulty. So the thing is, if we want to build understanding, what we need to do is always have a desirable difficulty when we are doing things. So for example, if I wanted to build a prototype to actually understand how to make something, then what I would do is that I would set the bar always just above my comfort level so that I always have a desirable difficulty, and that way I'm always at the right level to learn the best way. I remember when I first started game development, I was in this tutorial hell and I watched so many tutorials and I wasted so much time, man. And I don't wish the same for you. I remember when I actually made a movement script, I did it over and over, without a tutorial, just trying to figure it out myself. And that was basically the only thing I could do. Even though I watched maybe hundreds of hours of tutorial, the one thing that I could do was the one thing that I actually practiced active learning with. So that's why I know what I preach is 100% correct, because I've like seen an extreme example in my own journey. Like for example, when I stopped watching tutorials and I started making like experiments and prototypes and my first game, I learned so many different things, and I learned like 1000 times faster than I did with any tutorial. Because even though they're like follow along, you aren't thinking, you could like turn your brain off. Maybe you could have like 2% of your brain on and you could still like follow along a Unity tutorial just fine, because you aren't thinking yourself. And to learn something, like you need to use your brain. Learning is like super easy. Learning should be hard, because why is your brain going to remember something that's so easy? Doesn't need to, because you have all these resources available to you to make it easy at all times. So why would your brain want to remember it? It has so many other important things to remember. And this story of mine, where I wasted years in tutorial hell not learning anything, is the exact reason why I made Smartini, to help beginners in my exact position, and likely you as well if you watched like this video so far. That's why I made Smartini. It gives you a step-by-step blueprint on how you're going to finish your first game in not 1 year, it's going to be in only 60 days. And you get a lot of other bonuses as well, which is going to help you a ton. So if that's interesting, that's the first link in the description. But either way, I'm going to tell you the step-by-step action plan that I want you to follow today. I don't want you to watch any more of my videos, any more of other YouTubers' videos. What I want you to do, if you have 45 to 90 minutes today, I want you to spend it like this. Like you could probably like look at the view count on this video. Less than 5% of you guys are going to follow this. So if you follow this, then you're already ahead of 95% of other game developers, let alone the people that never watch this video. So if you follow this, it's going to be insanely good for you. The first thing I wanted to do, like the first step to escape tutorial hell, is going to build one small experiment, like just one mechanic, one thing, just do whatever you can, basically. Like this thing is going to be based on the knowledge that you already have. But the thing to remember, like I hear you screaming right now, desirable difficulty. You need this one thing to have a desirable difficulty, but it shouldn't be something that's like completely foreign to you. So for example, if you're a beginner and you know how to make a like get player input, what you could do is make a movement script, because that's like basically a few lines of code extra. So you could probably like guess your way through it or test your way through it so that you can find a solution, and it's going to be a desirable difficulty thing for you at your specific skill level with your knowledge. So the first step, find one mechanic that you can finish today and set aside like 45 to 90 minutes just experimenting and trying to build on the knowledge that you already have with a desirable difficulty. So try to like test and figure your way through doing something that's just above your skill level, something that's like relevant for you, and something that you could like figure out yourself but you've never done before, or like you don't fully know how to do, if you get my point. And if there is something that you're stuck on for more than 50 minutes, like a bug or like a line of code that like you need to like round the number, or like one specific line of code, and you can figure out how you're going to like write that line of code. If you've spent a minimum of 15 minutes on that specific issue and you can find the solution, then what you're going to do is that you're going to go on Google, not YouTube, not AI. You're going to go on Google and you're going to search for the solution there. Preferably use official documentation like Unity, Godot, Unreal documentation. Or if you can find it, then use a Stack Overflow or Reddit discussion. And I promise you, if you are one of the 5% of people watching this video that are actually going to like follow this advice, then you'll be ahead of 95% of all the other game developers in the world. So if you do this, I promise you, just like me, you'll finish your first game. I'd also love to hear what experiments you guys have in mind, like mechanics you guys have in mind. And it might also help like someone else. So please just comment down below what your experiment is going to be. And I encourage you to start building today. Thank you for watching.